Hey, how's it going? My name is Diane, and this is How to Train Your Caterpillar, a spiritual life coaching channel. And you're very welcome here. Thank you for checking out the video and the channel. I appreciate it a lot. And if you feel called to like and subscribe for me at any point during the video, I would appreciate that a lot too. I have no idea what's going to be going on with the lighting in this video. Like, I'm still kind of struggling with the lighting setup, and also I did this video like later on in the day, so it's like super freaking dark here, like fucking Mordor or something like that. So I've got it on a lighter setting. I also have like a colored light in the background to try and soften the lighting. So I don't know, apologies if the lighting's all fucked up, okay? I'm learning as I go, you know. So this video is going to be about something that I've been struggling with myself over the last few years, and I finally kind of realized what the problem is. So I thought I'd share it in case it was useful for anyone. This video is going to be for people who are struggling to let go of resentment. If you are that person, then this video is for you, because you know, over the last 3 years, I've really been. I found myself really struggling to let go of resentment for like things that have happened, things that have been done to me, you know, over the course of my life. And I say over the last 3 years because incidentally, that's actually when I started this channel. It was about 3 years ago, which I think triggered a whole bunch of shadow work for me, this channel, which is why, you know, if you've been following this channel from the beginning, you'll know that I've really dragged my feet with this channel. Like, I've hardly done anything with it, and when I do, it's very sporadic. But, you know, like 3 years ago, I think was, like I said, I started doing this channel, and I think it really kicked up a lot of shadow work for me. But also 3 years ago was the first time, basically in my whole life, that I had kind of stopped. And I think that's when like the resentment started hitting me about things that had happened before, because it didn't really occur to me up until that point to be pissed off about things, because I hadn't really had the time, you know, because I had been involved, like I can't really go too much into it because it involves other people, and like I know a lot of people from my past would be like more than happy to like get a lawyer and try and sue me or whatever, so I'm not going to say anything, even though I think you can't really be held liable for things that you say that are true, but whatever, I'm still not going to talk about it. But until I was about 32, like I was involved in like a certain situation, and then I left the situation, and you know, I moved to Thailand, and I was really busy, you know, because I had been involved in this situation till, like I said, till I was 32, that took up all of my time and like all of my thoughts. And then I went to Thailand and did the TEFL thing. And, you know, then I decided I wanted to teach in Scotland. So I came back to Scotland and I got my degree in teaching. And then I went and taught in a school. And then I decided I wanted to do the tarot. So I did that. And I decided, you know, I always had a goal in life, is something that I noticed about myself. Like, I only really figured that out a few years ago. Like, I'd always had a goal in life, you know, and when I started the tarot channel, the only goal that I had was like, okay, I want to get to like 100,000 subscribers for no reason. It doesn't, you know, there wasn't really any reason behind 100,000. It's just a number I had in my head. And then when that happened, I kind of got a bit lost because I didn't really have a goal. And I think, like I said, that's when the shadow work started kicking in. And then I decided, I was like, ooh, maybe I'll start like this type of channel. Like you know, I've learned I had to do a lot of healing on myself, and I had to kind of do it on the cheap as well, because I didn't really have a lot of money. So it was like chakra work and, you know, things that you did at home. So I was like, well, I've learned a lot of stuff like that, so maybe I'll start sharing it with other people. And then I did this channel. But like I said, I really dragged my feet with this channel, honestly, in part because I didn't want to do it. Like, when I first started it, I did want to do it. Like, I was enthusiastic about it. And then, because, you know, I kept, like, people on the tarot channel kept asking me about chakras and stuff. So I was like, okay, well, like, you know, I can make this channel and like explain about the chakras, and it'll be useful for people, and maybe someone will find it useful. But as I started doing it, I don't know, I just kind of felt myself getting more like resentful about the way that my life had ended up, because I felt like the first part of my life up until I was like 32, I didn't really have like a lot of freedom. I didn't really have a lot of control over what was going on. And I freely gave that time. But at the same time, it's always meant that I've been behind other people, you know? And I know that people kind of judge me and think they think I'm odd because like I'm so kind of behind, and I'm always doing things like about 10 years kind of behind other people is how I feel. And that's something that you'll never get back. Like the time is something that you'll never get back. So I think when I started doing the new channel, there was like a combination of kind of like a lot of resentment from things, like I said, that had happened before, this lost time, feeling like I didn't have a lot of freedom. And then also it kind of felt like, okay, so I spent like my whole life accumulating this information, and now I'm supposed to, because it felt like it was heading towards that, like I was supposed to give it to other people, you know? Because that's what you do on the spiritual path, you know, you go through the bad situations and then you find out how to heal, and then you show other people how to heal, right? Like, other people have done it, and I know that's how it's done, but at the same time, it kind of got to a place where it's like, well, where's my life gonna start? You know, because I didn't, like, where's my piece of pie kind of thing. And that's something that I've been working through over like the last 3 years, but I moved, please just bear with me. Like, I'm not rambling. This is all relevant. Like, I moved house 2 years ago. For the first time in my life, I bought property, which is this place. And that's when the resentment really kicked in, because I'm not going to say too much about it because, again, I don't want to get sued by some little skank. But suffice it to say that I was really excited about this place because, like I said, it was the first time I'd ever bought property. I was like, oh, it's like a place of my own. You know, somewhere that I can be like safe and no one can, kick me out or whatever. But yeah, it's certainly, let me put it this way. It certainly hasn't been what I thought it was going to be. I'll put it that way. So there was like this added resentment because it's like, well, but Spirit's supposed to protect me. Like, what the fuck is this? You know, there's an element of feeling like I wasted my life in a way. And I'm sure a lot of people feel like that. It's just that I kind of feel like I haven't had a lot of control over my own life, and I was inclined to resent it. You know, and then on top of that, I feel like Spirit put me in this house because I haven't really been able to get out of this flat is the thing. Like, I've been here for 2 years. I've got it on the market now, but like it needs so much done to it. I think it's going to be tricky. I think it's going to be like a tricky sell. And also like I work here and it's just kind of difficult. And also I can't find anywhere to move to. Like I seem to have, because I'm going to be renting, like I seem to have gone into the renting market at like the worst possible time. So I feel like I'm kind of trapped here. And I feel like Spirit has trapped me here until I deal with these emotions, because I actually became so resentful that I actually managed to make myself ill. I developed a chronic illness, which once it's gone, because it will go away, I've decided. It's not, I ain't going out like that. I've decided, like once I get rid of it, then I can make a video about how I got rid of it, and hopefully it'll help other people. But yeah, I managed to develop a really debilitating chronic illness that's like really painful, and it's from resentment because I've spent the last year studying it because I've been in so much pain and stuff. It's from chronic resentment is why I've developed this illness. So I've been working really hard and like studying over the last year to figure out how to let go of this resentment. And I've been kind of confused because I assumed it was just a matter of forgiving people, like forgiving the people involved, forgiving the situation, forgiving Spirit. But that hasn't worked. I've tried everything to help release this. Like I've done Ho'oponopono, I've been working with the violet flame, like I've done like forgiveness meditations. And it only occurred to me about 3 weeks ago, which is why I'm sharing it. The reason that I haven't been able to let go of the resentment, it actually has nothing to do with like forgiveness, because I forgave the people that were involved, excuse me, in the situation a long time ago, because you can't blame people. You can blame them if you want, but people are who they are. They're a product of their environment. They're a product of how they were raised, things like that. So it is them doing the actions, but at the same time, it's coming from like a place of total subconsciousness or the unconscious. But so, I've forgiven I forgave them a long time ago. And even the people who sold me this flat, like I've forgiven them too, because it's just people in survival mode, whatever their reasons were, like I've forgiven them. But actually what I realized is if you are having trouble letting go of resentment, really the problem is acceptance. You need to accept things. And when I say acceptance, I don't mean that you need to accept things that have happened in the past, because that's forgiveness. You need to accept the way that your life looks now. That's probably the problem that you're having. Like, I think we all have an idea of how our lives should have gone, or how our lives should go, or how people should have treated us. And this idea that you have, or this idea that I had in my head about how my life should have looked, that ship has sailed. That's not, because I'm 10 years behind everyone else. Everything's different. Look what I do for a job now. I do feel like, you always have control over what you do. You can always say yes or you can always say no. But I personally found that Spirit made it so difficult for me to do anything else. I do feel like there's been kind of like a lack of control there. Like it's been very much Spirit has pushed me into places and things that they feel like I should be doing. But it's certainly, I realized like a few weeks ago, like I said, I have to accept that my life looks different. Like my future is going to be different than how I expected it to be. Because the resentment has come from, people, situations, and also Spirit performing actions that have led to me not having the future that I thought I was going to have, essentially, if you see what I mean. I thought I was going to be, like further along in life than I am at this age, because I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but I should be further along for my age, right? But I think it's the should thing that is something that you need to let go of, like in terms of like, if you're having trouble with resentment, like you need to let go of this idea that things should have been a different way, or your future should have looked a different way, because there is no should. I'm fully aware that my future will be the path that I agree to when I got, before I got into this human body kind of thing. It's certainly one of the timelines I agree to, and it's definitely my highest timeline. But, I've had to let go of like I said, the way that my ego thinks things should have been, like I should have had this like 10 years ago kind of thing. Excuse me, because it is, people do judge you as well. Because, you can, especially around here, because it's kind of like like a ye oldie, like fucking medieval kind of, people have 8 kids by the time they're 22 and shit like this. That people have an idea of the way that you should be living your life kind of thing. And it's very different to how mine looks. Even in terms of like career and stuff, like I don't even tell people what I don't really tell people what I do because they would just be like, what? You do what? Okay, like that's weird. You're a fucking weirdo. But that's cool because I don't have anything to talk to these people about anyway. So that's something that's actually really helped me. Like I've actually started feeling a lot better in terms of this chronic illness. It's actually really subsided I mean, it's still there, but I've had it for a year, so it's going to take a little bit longer than 3 weeks for it to subside. But since I started accepting that my future is different and like my circumstances are just different than how I thought they would be, like I've started feeling a lot better. So I think that's the key. If you've been really struggling with like resentment and things like that, and you've tried all the forgiveness and you've tried Ho'oponopono, or you've tried like, meditations on it and healing the heart chakra and Reiki, because I've tried everything. I've read every book, spiritual teachings, like philosophers, blah, 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 over the last year, and nothing helped except this. Realizing that I have to accept that life is just going to be different for me. My future is just different than how I thought it should be. And it doesn't mean that it's going to be worse, because I can see my future and I know that it's going to be amazing. I see that, but there still had to be a level of acceptance there that, I'm going to be a lot older when these things happen than I thought. So I'm going to be very unrelatable to most people, probably. The muggles, the normies, because they're just going to be like, what? Like, what happened? Oh my God, like, that's weird. Except they don't sound like that around here. Yeah, so that's the video. I feel like it was like a really long-winded video, but and probably kind of cryptic, because like I said, I haven't really talked about like my past and stuff like that. It's just that it doesn't really involve just me. And like I said, I do know like a lot of nasty people from my past that would be only too eager to like try and sue or whatever. So I think it's best to just keep it diplomatic. But I hope this helped you. I hope it was clear what I was saying, and I hope that it helped you. So just to reiterate, like if you are having problems with letting go of the past or letting go of what people did, it's very likely that you resent these people, or you resent spirit because they've interfered with how you think your future should have been, right? Like say for example, it's your ex-husband, right? Say that you were, or your ex-wife, say you were married to someone for like 15 years. And when you met this person, you were all in love and you were like, oh, this person's my future. We're going to get married and we're going to have babies. We're going to live happily ever after. Oh my God, cuteness. Live in a fucking castle, picket fence, blah, blah, blah. But then, 10 years in, you realize this person was a dick, or you realize like you guys are really not suited for each other and you have to get divorced. Your future is probably not looking the way that you thought it would, right? So maybe you're resentful for this like ex-husband or ex-wife because they like stole 10 years of your life, or they stole the best years of your life, right? But that's again just, it is part of your path. The lessons are harsh. I've had some harsh lessons, but it is part of my path and it's part of your path. So there's like a level of acceptance that has to happen, that your future is just going to look different than how you envisioned it. It's not going to be with that person. You're not going to have the white picket fence with that person, but there'll be another person. It's just that there's a bunch of lessons that had to happen in between. A good example of this, not to go on, but I don't know if you've watched that show, Schitt's Creek, which I'm kind of in love with. And I'm just watching the last season that I actually never made it through. And it's making me cry. What the hell? It's a very well written show, but I don't want to give the game away, because you should definitely watch it. Like if you haven't watched it, David is so funny. Like one pizza. What is this? Les Mis? Actually, they're all funny. I really like Alexis. I like all of them. The mother is hilarious. Alexis is hilarious. But that's like a show about like a family that were really, really rich. And they lost all their money and they have to go and live in like a small town and blah, 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 blah. So there could be a lot of resentment there that happens for those people, but they learn different lessons, you know? And I'm going to give you some spoilers here, so if you don't want to hear the spoilers, don't watch this. But, you know, they learn, like, the family gets closer together, for one thing. Like, they, you watch the children grow. Like, it's very sweet. So it's, you know, they could choose to either be resentful that they lost all their money, or they can choose to accept that their future is different from how it looked, how they thought it was going to be, but not worse, just different. Because I know that my future is not, I know I have a very blessed future coming, and like I'm very excited about it and I'm very happy about it. Because, you know, that's what I do. I see stuff. But yeah, it's just different than maybe how 20-year-old me thought my future was going to look. So I hope this was a useful video. Sorry if I rambled, but I'm not going to edit it. I'm just going to leave it as is because I think what came out today probably needed to come out. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was useful. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for me if you feel like doing that. I'd appreciate it a lot. And as always, I wish you many blessings, love and light. Take care.